Every town along the banks of the Ganga defiles and desecrates, and yet ostensibly worships Ma Ganga. Yet if there's one town along the banks of the Ganga that is killing, some say even murdering Ma Ganga more than all the others, it is Kanpur. The scientific tests by Terry all along the Ganga have shown it is polluted with fecal and other coliform carriers of disease and bacteria. The pollution from Kanpur is even worse. On top of fecal coliform, Kanpur pours millions of gallons of untreated chemicals into the Ganga, chemicals that cause cancer and a number of other critical diseases. Once referred to as the Manchester of the East, Kanpur is an industrial hub and one of the worst offenders when it comes to polluting the Ganga. The cocktail of killer chemicals flow from Kanpur's famous leather tanneries, but it isn't just the tanneries. There are also paper, plastic and chemical factories that spew into the Ganga as well. The team from Terry tested the water at Kanpur extensively at several places, first taking an upstream sample before the Ganga arrives at Kanpur from Haridwar, another from one of Kanpur's infamous and largest drains, the Sismau Nala. We also tested a hand pump in a location near the river, and finally we took samples downstream from Kanpur as the Ganga left the city, a toxic cocktail. The findings were heartbreaking. First, the crucial technical parameter called the biochemical oxygen demand or BOD, a good indicator of the overall health of any river. The tanneries and other factories discharge effluents with a high oxygen demand into the Ganga. This strips the oxygen from the Ganga's water and kills all fish and plants in the river. Upstream from Kanpur, Terry's lab results show the BOD levels were already high at 3.7. That's almost twice the global permissible limit set at 2. But downstream, it's much, much worse. After Kanpur has dumped its chemicals into the Ganga, the BOD levels in the downstream water samples hit a dangerously high level of 8.7. That's a jump by 135%. At these levels of biochemical oxygen demand, it becomes more difficult for the Ganga to support aquatic life. Even worse, the levels of chemicals in the water is a major reason why there's such a high incidence of cancer among people living along the banks of the Ganga, downstream from Kanpur. Even the fish are contaminated. Thousands of crores that have been spent by the government on cleaning the Ganga. Even today, there are over 24 drains that carry effluent from household waste from Kanpur straight into the Ganga river. Behind me here, you can see this drain. This drain comes from the tanneries of Kanpur that are very notorious and responsible for carrying a lot of the poison and pollution into the Ganga. They carry chromium and various chemicals, and as you can see behind me, there it goes mixing straight into the river. Chromium is one of the most dangerous chemical waste from tanneries. It comes from the leather during the retanning and dyeing process. The Ganga carries in her waters 0.02 mg per litre of chromium. This is 4 times the globally permitted amount. Chromium pollution has both immediate acute impact as well as long-term chronic effects. Despite this evidence that the water is polluted, people's faith in the Ganga is astounding. Like this man we found bathing just a few feet from the Dabka Nala that carries in it wastewater from tanneries.
आपको बिल्कुल फिक्र नहीं लगती है कि इतना इसमें गंदगी होगी?
इसमें तो अपना टेंडी वाले भी छोड़ते हैं पानी।
हाँ,
इसमें अपने टेंडी वाले भी छोड़ते हैं। पवित्र है गंगा, पवित्र है ना।
अच्छा
जी।
तो पवित्र कैसे अगर इतना सारा गंद मिला हुआ है गंगा में?
उसी में तो भाई आपकी कोई जब भी फूल माला फेंक दिया जा रहा है, सब कुछ किया जा रहा है, उसमें अब गंदगी तो ऊपर वाले ने जान नहीं। गंगा मेरी माता है, अपना कुछ भी करें, चाहे यहाँ पे रहें चाहे कहीं भी रहें, तो गंगा माता है ना, चाहे मेरी रक्षा करती है माँ।
There are over 400 tanneries in Kanpur categorized into small, medium and large and can be found in the Jajmau area. It is the smaller tanneries here that are the worst offenders. working in extremely unhygienic conditions. Given the importance of the tannery industry to UP's economy, the infrastructure in the industrial area is woefully inadequate, with narrow lanes, filth and poor planning. While under the Ganga Action Plan, an effluent treatment plant was commissioned in 1994, but it has the capacity to treat only 9 million litres a day of wastewater, whereas the tannery effluent discharge is nearly 40 million litres per day.
वो डीजल बेस खाते हैं, बिजली आती नहीं है, डीजल बेस खाते हैं.
The tannery owners argue that it's for the government to give them better facilities.
एक्चुअली होता क्या, वहाँ ट्रीट करते नहीं है.
कहाँ STP में जो ट्रीटमेंट प्लांट?
ट्रीटमेंट जो प्लांट है वहाँ पे ट्रीट करते नहीं है. जनरेटर रखा हुआ है, वो चलता नहीं. जब लाइट, सपोज कभी लाइट नहीं रही तो क्या करेंगे. और हम लोग का ट्रेनी का कोई भी पानी डायरेक्ट जो है गंगा में नहीं जाता है. लाइसेंस के हिसाब से वो हर महीने हमको बिल भेज देते हैं कि हमने आपका इतना पानी ट्रीट किया, इसका ये बिल है, तो हम लोग उसको पेमेंट कर देते हैं. तो इसमें हमारा दोष कहाँ है. दोष तो ट्रीटमेंट प्लांट चलाने वालों का है, न कि टेंडी वालों का है. टेंडी वाले कभी भी कहीं भी, क्योंकि हमारी भी तो आस्था है उस गंगा से. हम लोग भी नमाज पढ़ते हैं, पानी है, पीते हैं पानी, जिसका स्रोत से पानी आता है. कोई बोरिंग होगी, किसी के कुआं होगा, जो भी है, तो पानी हम लोग भी पीते हैं. कभी भी ये नहीं कोई चाहेगा कि गंगा मैली हो.
We spoke to Rakesh Jaiswal, who's been fighting to clean the Ganga in Kanpur for over a decade. His crusade to clean the Ganga began when he started getting dirty water in the taps at home.
We have a treatment capacity of 9 million litres of tannery wastewater every day. But now we have 40 to 50 MLD of tannery wastewater being generated every day in Kanpur. So there is a huge gap. The tannery wastewater treatment responsibility is shared one between the government and tanneries. It should be either government responsibility or tanneries responsibility. And I think tanneries should be made responsible to treat their wastewater.
Tanneries are all meant to install primary treatment plants, and the larger ones, like this one we visited in nearby Unnao, have a primary plant and also have their waste go to a common effluent treatment plant.
Like what you see here now, and then it, after settling tank, then it goes to the common effluent treatment plant. When the secondary treatment and the tertiary treatment is done, then after that you see the quality of water which is coming out is used for agriculture purposes.
This is one of the larger leather tanneries here in Unnao that follow guidelines, that have very good infrastructure. They have a primary treatment plant as is required by the government. They also have a chrome recovery plant here on the premises. Now the wastewater is treated here in the primary treatment plant and then it's sent to the common effluent plant. Now many of the people that we've been speaking to say it is the smaller tanneries that cause most of the problems.
We also tested the levels of copper pollution in the Ganga. High levels of copper in water leads to liver and kidney diseases and a decline in mental abilities in young adolescents. Once again, the results of Terry's lab tests indicate a potential health crisis. The copper levels are at 0.02 mg per litre in the downstream samples, which is an astounding 7 times the globally permitted level. The locals claim that even the water and sewage treatment that exists are not working properly. They say wastewater that emerges from these plants and goes through their fields is still polluted.
अगर पानी शाम को भरा जाता है, मतलब 1 घंटा नहीं बीतता होगा कि पानी भर के रखा, तो इसमें जैसे मलाई है, जाम जाते हैं काली काली और पीला पीला, एकदम बच्चों के दांत एकदम पीले हो जाते हैं. और पीने से कहीं ये कई लोगों तो घेंगा इस टाइम में निकल आया है. और पीने से इतनी उन लोगों को दिक्कत हो, लेकिन मजबूरी है, पानी पिए तो कहाँ से पिए. हैंडपैप से पानी इतना ख़राब निकल रहा है, कुआं पानी इतना ख़राब निकल रहा है, लेकिन पीने तो पड़ता ही है.
पानी से क्या फर्क पड़ता है आपके?
पानी में फर्क है.
फसल कुछ ऐसा पीली पड़ जाती है.
ये पानी और वो पानी में अंतर है. वो पानी है अच्छा है, ये पानी जो है खराब.
ये जिसे शाम नहीं भरा जा, रात भरे बिना इसका लाल पानी निकलता है.
वही बता रहे हैं.
The stream that goes through the fields eventually joins the Ganga further on, and the contamination is in the groundwater as well. This hand pump just outside a tannery had been declared as unsafe.
We're in an industrial part of Unnao where there's several leather tanneries. Now this water pump is right next to one of the leather tanneries. A few months ago, the Jal Nigam came here and tested the water from here, after which they found such high levels of chromium that they've actually written on the hand pump here. You can see, iska pani pina mana hai, it contains chromium. But this gives us an idea that the water table in this region actually has chromium from the leather tanneries.
We found mercury levels at 0.0029 mg per litre in both the upstream and downstream of the Ganga, which is 3 times the acceptable limit. But more worrying is what we found in the groundwater samples. The mercury is a whopping 7 to 8 times the permissible limit. This is a health crisis, and yet we just seem to ignore it exists. High mercury levels impact the function and development of central nervous system in both people and wildlife, and is especially harmful for children and pregnant women. It affects cognitive thinking, memory, attention, language, and fine motor skills. I met with Anu Tandon, the former MP of Unnao, whose NGO is working against polluting industries. She had several studies done which show an alarming increase in the groundwater contamination.
स्टडी हम लोगों ने 2010 में पहले कराया, फिर 11 में कराया, 12 कराया, तो उसमें जो हम लोगों ने उसका कंपैरिजन किया, तो उसमें करीब 500 गुना कई ऐसे मेटल्स थे, कई ऐसे केमिकल्स थे जो 500 गुना ज़्यादा बढ़ोतरी हुई 2010 से 2012 के बीच में.
And it's not just industrial waste that Kanpur contributes to the Ganga. We found the city's entire sewage and household wastewater comes pouring into the river like small tributaries. There are around 24 nalas in all that carry the wastewater of the city. While some have been intercepted, most dump their waste into the river.
This here is the Sismao Nala, the largest city drain in which there are hundreds of liters of wastewater, and we're talking domestic waste, human waste, factory waste. Hundreds of liters pour into the Ganga 24/7. And this is the situation in Kanpur, UP's largest industrialized city, so many years after independence and after thousands of crores have been spent on Ganga Action Plan 1 and Ganga Action Plan 2.
Our tests revealed that the total coliform levels were very high downstream at 590 most probable number per 100 milliliters, and that includes fecal coliform at 5 mpn, which leads to waterborne diseases like diarrhea and dysentery. The direct pollution from towns and cities is not the only crucial issue that impacts the Ganga. On our travel, we found the two main problems of the Ganga are pollution and reduced water in the river that impacts the environmental flow. Millions of gallons of Ganga water are diverted into canals to irrigate fields along the Ganga. On the one hand, this causes depletion in the water levels in the Ganga, which reduces its flow and raises the density of pollution. On the other hand, farmers desperately need the canal water for their crops, especially with the monsoon rains becoming increasingly volatile. Environmental flow of a river is vital as it allows the river to be a healthy, resilient ecosystem that is able to support aquatic life.